So what we were going to do this week was just have a look back at what we've done the last couple of weeks, and also then I got a short little video. I bought another set of videos for myself personally, but I'm quite happy to share them. And that's, I've got one on some photoshopping on cityscapes. So we'll deal with that in a minute, but maybe first just have a look. We had 35 photos I had sent me for when we did the wire wall. So let's just share that. So if you remember, we saw that short little video on YouTube, and this was what we set ourselves up with. So we had some wire wool that Gary very kindly brought along, a pair of gloves. I had some safety glasses, a lighter, and then we tied a bit of string to the whisk. Yes, thank you. I was thinking it was a sieve, and I'm thinking, no, it's not a sieve. I know it's not a sieve.
If it is, it's a coarse one.
Yeah. So we tied it to this long thing here, which I believe is called a whisk. And then what we needed to do was to find some idiot to put all that gear on and swing it round. That was me. Nobody else volunteered. Thanks, lads. And anyway, here's some of the photos that were sent me. So obviously, first thing first, you got Gary here set up. All set up on got the tripod set up. One of the, I'll say not a problem, but one of the issues that we probably knew we'd have was although we had the light from the road behind, it was pretty dark out on that field, and so we needed torches to be able to see what we were doing. But here are some of the pictures that we had. So there's a couple from Bob, and I think what I did realise as we went through doing it, because we had quite a few goes, didn't we? Was I needed to swing it slower, which I started doing as we went along. But I think there were some good photos. That was Bob's couple. Dave sent us in three. Dave McGill, 1, 2, and 3. And Dennis Peters sent me that one. I don't quite know what these, like that line is there and that one now. I suppose it's just bits coming off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a bit of wire wool fell off, I guess, or something. Yeah.
Big piece.
Then Gary sent us a couple. So
That's
that
nice.
gave you a good idea of,
That's
yeah, it
really
is, isn't it? It really sort of showed what we were doing. And if we could get, if we have another go and go out in the forest, then you'll get rid of things like these, these, there's a couple of lights in the background, isn't there?
Maybe able to get the horizon straight next time as well.
Crop it out.
Yeah. That was Gary's other one.
Wow.
Ooh.
What exposure was Gary? How many seconds was it?
I don't know. Do you remember what you did, Gary? Because obviously we set up to do it for F22 for 25 seconds, didn't we? But we.
Yeah, and time I finished, I think I was down to about 8 or 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That was one from Janet. Bit different. And then here's a few from Karen. There's a variety of different patterns that it made.
It's quite a good one.
Yeah, and that one's got
That's
a bit.
good.
That one got a bit of the tree in the front as well, which is a bit different. So I think we had a bit of fun with it, and it went
Yeah, it
better
was a good
than I
evening.
think it went better than we thought it was
Right.
going to, didn't it?
Nice pictures there.
Well, that's good.
And that's one of Kevin's. Although he didn't last too long because it was a bit cold out there. Was cold, quite a cold evening actually.
Yeah.
Has that been photoshopped or is that how it was?
I don't know if anybody did anybody Photoshop any of them that they sent me. I don't think they did.
I did a few tweaks on mine.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I might
I
have taken
did.
the background lights out on mine.
Did you? Yeah.
I did some tweaks on just use Snapseed just to monochrome one and play about with them.
Right, but not what you sent me or what.
Yeah, have you got mine now? I think
Yeah,
they're-
yours are at the end. Yeah,
I'll put them on WhatsApp.
they're
yeah.
just coming up. I'll be there in a sec. That was Patty's. I like when the sparks were bouncing off the
Right.
off the grass.
Yeah, they're like little spiders, aren't they?
Yeah, they were. It was,
You're in there. They know you're there.
that one's Patty's, and another one. That was
Ooh,
one. That was one of
wow.
yours, Ray. But I think that was before you changed the white balance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could have been. But yeah, it's like
I
someone.
think because that's what it said. Wanted to change the white balance.
Yeah.
In the video,
Yeah,
and like
definitely.
that one's a bit white. And
Yeah.
then you changed it, didn't you, to that?
Yeah,
Wow.
just to see the different effects you get, and quite interesting, isn't it? It's like the first one's like a welder, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good though.
Good fun.
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody enjoyed that. And then look, there's that one like with the little spiders.
Mm.
We could have some fun, like compositing some of these bits onto do. Or really, it's about finding some subjects as well, isn't it? And then that'd be the next step, perhaps.
Yes, is to have a thought about what you could merge them in with.
Mm.
Maybe put a portrait of somebody's head there on top of I don't know. I think that's that's the next trick with them, and the next task is to think what you could do with some of the shapes.
Looks like bonfire night gone wrong.
Yeah. But maybe after Christmas we'll do it in the new year and go out and try and find somewhere to go out. Like I think someone was saying, if we went out into the forest by one of the ponds there, and we could get some nice reflections off the pond. Might be worth trying.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Hatchet's Pond.
Hatchet's Pond, yeah, that would probably be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Although it's by the road, isn't it? But we should be able.
It goes a long way back. There's the second car park up the side.
Yeah.
And you're quite close to the lake. Just the biggest issue there could be a little bit boggy this time of year.
Yeah.
Remember, Terry had a really good one he did with, I think it was a bandstand, wasn't it, Terry? I don't know if you're on here. That looked really good.
Yeah, South Sea Bandstand. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
On the front.
Lockshade's quite quiet, and it's not too far away from where you park your car.
Yeah, that's
You
true. It might be a
Good
bit.
one, yeah.
Might be a bit better there. You certainly won't have any light getting in the way.
If you're doing it on a hard surface like concrete, those little explosions when it hits the floor are better.
Right. Okay.
In grass, some of them will sort of disappear or get.
You don't have to set the place up on
I'm surprised.
Okay, but that's I think that was all of those from a couple of weeks ago. So I think we pretty much all agree it was quite a good experiment to try, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Just a shame that we couldn't find a way of recording it so we, for those that were watching on Zoom, could watch it. But we'll look into that for the next time. I think we might be able to sort something out so that we can get a camera out there and feed it straight into the laptop. Right, then last week we went to Ocean Village, but that was more a case of
Sally with a picture of a cake.
just giving us a bit of a feeler for what you could and couldn't do. Gary was there to help people set their cameras up. And there's a few of the photos I had back in, or which I took, I can't remember which now. But it was really just, it was more a chance just to get out and have a night out somewhere and meet up and just try a few different things. And obviously it's not, it's nice and colourful down there at night, but it's not ideal for a cityscape, but it was just to give us all a bit of a practice, really. So that's a few of the pictures taken that I got sent me by one or two people. And what we're going to do, I've got a video which shows one of these new ones I've got, which show you what we could do if we'd taken some nice skylines from somewhere like London, somewhere where you get a good cityscape picture. So we'll just watch that and then we'll have a chat about that afterwards.
And that new building's finished over at Woolston would look quite good at night.
Yeah, you there, Bob, now? Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
it will. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, out of breath.
Oh,
I'm going to send you an email, Bob, tomorrow to remind you to read your emails.
Yeah.
Right, women, I'll just...
and Jackie.
Oh, I know, yeah, and Jackie. Well, when she gets on here, I'll tell her as well. Right, so this is a video. It's part of a package I've bought, which has got various teaching videos all around photography. So we'll sort of dip into some of them, which I think are relevant. Hopefully you'll find them relevant. We're recording it, so you'll be able to, once it's up on YouTube, you'll be able to go back and watch bits if there was bits that were of interest, or if you wanted to follow through on what he tells you to do in Photoshop. So here we go.
Hi and welcome to the first workflow in this series of Cityscape tutorials. Firstly, we're going to be creating this very striking image of the New York City skyline.
I assume you can all hear that okay?
yeah.
Lovely,
Yep.
okay, just make sure I've done it right.
If we look at the image before, we'll see that the reflection is entirely made up, as are the fireworks which I actually took on the 4th of July in San Francisco. I created the reflection basically because the water in the foreground is pretty much dead space. It's not even remotely interesting. Also, in this workflow, I'm going to be showing you a technique to blend exposures that's incredibly quick and effective in night cityscapes for some reason or another. I'm not sure if I'm the first to use this process, but I certainly haven't heard of anyone using it to blend exposures beforehand. Okay, let's get into it. So this is the final image. We're going to be using two different exposures, one which is a normally exposed image and the other which is a -2 exposure. So this is Adobe Camera Raw. We click select all, so whatever changes we apply, they are applied across both images. Now I go to lens corrections, enable lens profile corrections. So this will correct any kind of oddities that your particular lens has, and remove chromatic aberration. And finally, on this particular shot, I'm going to change the white balance to auto to get that kind of bluish look. And we're going to open the images. And you'll see once the images are open that the horizons aren't actually straight. They're a little bit slanty. So we're going to have to correct that first before we do anything. Now, Okay, it's loaded up. This is the -2 exposure, and I just clicked on the move tool there, and I went over to the -2 exposure. I pressed down on the left mouse button and just dragged it across and hovered over there and then placed it on top. Now we're going to close this. I accidentally dragged it on twice there, showing you. And we're going to choose the blend mode difference. And we do that to see whether or not this layer is aligned. And it isn't, because I didn't place it on carefully enough. So you see these kind of blurry bits, these edgy bits. This is telling us that our two exposures are misaligned. So if you click on the move tool and you click on the top layer and you press the arrow keys, I'm pressing down right now, and you can see they're slowly coming into place. Perfect. And there we go. So now if we click back to normal, we can see that they're perfectly aligned. Now take this little padlock and drag it down into the trash can. So this frees up this layer, and press Control and click on the layer 1. Now click your right mouse button and choose Link Layers. Now we're going to straighten up the horizon in the -2 exposure, and because we've linked the layers, it'll apply the changes to the 0 layer as well. Okay, so go over to the left to the ruler tool and choose a point that should be straight. This should be straight. Yeah, and now press straighten layer. And it'll straighten that layer, and it'll do the same for that. Now while we're zoomed in, let's just look to see why we've got two exposures in this image. You can see in the 0 exposure, the highlights are extremely blown out. And now I don't mind if some of the highlights are blown out in the final image, but when I blend exposures, I do it because I want to have the option to have an image with that amount of information at the end. So for example, if I have a beautiful sunset, and sometimes I will really blow out the sun to add extra energy or dynamism to the image, but initially I'll blend the sky perfectly so that it will have all the information it should have, and at least then I have far more options as I work along my workflow. So let's quickly crop this image to where we want it to be, to about here. Just a little bit along there. I'm thinking more about having kind of a stretched out skyline rather than one which is a bit flat and plump, because this one isn't particularly tall, this shot, so a wider skyline with these features will work fine. Now let's go to the blending process that I mentioned before. If you go to the thumbnail of the top layer and double click on it, you'll get the layer style box. Now this part here, this is what we're going to be working with, where it says blend if and then this layer. If we pull this all the way along, you'll see it basically just replaces the bottom layer with the top layer. Now I can't even begin to explain what's happening here because I don't even know. I know that it gets me the results that I want, but I have no idea what it's actually doing. So, but I can show you how to do it anyway. Now, you don't want to do that. You don't want to replace the bottom layer with the top layer. We want to remove all of the top layer, all of the -2 exposure, but leave just the lights, just the highlights. And we can do this by pressing Control, Alt, and grabbing, do you see how this bit here has split in two? Here's the left side and the right side and a line down the middle. Just grab the right side and just slide it all the way along. And then press OK. And now, to show you that it's worked, if we just zoom in, and I press, there you go, make the layer 1 invisible, you can see the highlights come back, and make it visible again, you can see that they disappear, or they calm down significantly. Now, that's the blending process finished. When we're doing this particular workflow, it's important to keep things nice and tidy. So choose the top layer, press Control and click on layer 0. Then press Control and G again for the first time, and this will create a group. This is your first group. Next, if you press Control, in fact, let's delete this group first, ungroup, and let's press the right mouse button and Alt and merge layers. and you'll see, didn't work that time. Let's do it again. Alt and merge layers. There we go. Now it's created an image which has merged both of these layers. However, and we do this so that we can actually we can keep this protected. We don't have to merge them and lose them forever. We can change them somewhere down the workflow line if we want to. And so do exactly as I said before, press Ctrl and G and we'll create that group. And now that's protected there in group 1. Next, what we're going to do is add the fireworks in that you saw before. And we do that by just choosing one, we drag it in, and we just press OK. And now we resize it. Now don't go crazy with the size, but fireworks can be pretty big. So let's now drag this up here. I think that's too big. If we go to Edit, Transform and Scale, and we just move that up a little bit more, press OK. Now, to blend it, we don't have to mask in and out lots of mad things. We just have to go to the blend mode and press Lighten. And you see most of it disappears apart from some lines along here. The reason why it does that is because the blend mode Lighten looks at the current layer that you've changed the blend mode on and compares it with the layer below. If the pixels in the layer that you've chosen are brighter than the layer below, they'll remain visible. Now, what I've done here, I've chosen the fireworks layer and I've created a layer mask right down here. Then I went to my brush, made sure the foreground color was black and opacity was 100%. With the mask selected, we're just going to mask out the fireworks. Very gently. Make sure there's nothing left. There we go. And that's nice and clean. And then we grab the next set of fireworks and we pull those in. And we do the same thing. We press OK. And we'll make it just a little bit smaller. Not too small. Then I'm going to move them up here and do exactly the same thing. Lighten again. Create a layer mask. I'm going to zoom in. You'll see it's much more spread out, so you have to be very careful here. And I'm just removing any residual artifacts from this layer that we just don't want. And let's zoom out and line this up maybe about here. Now you see by moving that, in fact let's lift this up here because there was a lot of hidden things in there. And there we go. There. I think that's got it all. Now I'm going to put this about here, and I want to zoom in just ever so slightly because there is a little bit of pink smoke hanging around along here. And it's not too severe, but we need to do a proper job. Okay, that's great. Now we're going to do some very basic contrast adjustments here. And I'm going to choose this layer, the merged one layer that we created before, press Shift and the top layer. And again, I'm going to merge layers. So that's Alt and merge layer. Now I'm going to go up to Nik, Collection and Color Effects. In Color Effects, I love to use a filter called Pro Contrast. If we just go down, there it is. And I love dynamic contrast because it creates contrast locally rather than globally. This is global contrast where the darks get dark and the brights get brighter across the whole image. But dynamic contrast makes changes which are much smaller, much more specific. So let's do that about there. And now if we move the highlights to the right, we're actually protecting the highlights. So we're creating contrast, but we're not destroying the highlights that we've preserved previously. Now if we press OK, just take a second to work its magic. Okay, great. Let's see, it's not too strong. Nope, that's fine. Although I'm going to just mask out this side here. As you can see, it's just a little bit bright. No, that's a bit much. Make a larger brush, about 1000 or 1500, 47%, and just, there we go, that's much smoother. Okay, we don't have to worry about the water. Okay, so now we're going to merge these two layers again. So if we just press Control and select them, and then Alt and merge layers, this time we're going to actually create the reflection now. And we'll do that by, oh, I'm going ahead of myself. We'll do that by choosing this rectangular marquee tool. Make sure the feather is set to 0. And now choose the uppermost left corner and just drag it all the way along until the horizon. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it has to be better than the job I've just done. My hand slipped just in the corner there. Okay. Now mine's a little bit low, but that's not a big problem. Then we do edit, transform, and flip vertical. And you'll see it all jumps upside down. And just drag that new top layer down a touch. And with this, you can actually use your arrow keys to place it. To be a bit more precise if you've got a shaky hand like I have. Okay, that looks great. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to have to make it look like real water. And usually reflections aren't this clear. So if we just go to blur and motion blur, and we set the distance to about 21. And you'll see now that it's all of a sudden gone blurry. And that's exactly what we want. We also want to darken the water slightly, and we'll do that through a curves layer. Now you'll see when I change the curves layer, it affects the entire image. But what you can do so that it only affects the water is if, as long as it's above this layer, you press the right mouse button on curves 1 and you change this to create clipping mask. And it only affects the bottom layer, the bottom reflection part. Okay. Now we're going to merge these again. Now you see how I merge them every time so that if anything goes wrong, I can just delete that layer and just find out where it went wrong and start again. And I've got everything preserved. Now I'm going to create a vignette. And I'll do that not by simply adding a standard vignette, but by using another filter that I really love in Color FX called Darken, Lighten, Center. And I'll show you the before and after already. That's before. It's very flat. And now most of the light and energy is concentrated in the center. And if we can control the brightness through the center luminosity and also the size, we can make it much smaller, much larger. And we can change how dark the surrounding areas are as well. And we want to make this dramatic, so. But not too dark, obviously. That looks okay. Press OK. And there we have it. And now I think this part is just a little bit too dark again. Naturally this had a slightly darker vignette at the beginning. So let's just mask some of that out. We want the left and right sides to be more or less even. And now a good way to see if you've made an even image is if you just zoom out slightly. And it still looks a little bit dark around there. So again, and now I'm just going to darken this bit here. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And now, one last touch, we create a curves layer. And all we're doing here is just making a very general contrast adjustment just to make the image pop even more. You just turn that on and off. And now the good thing about this contrast adjustment is that it actually accentuates the fireworks a little bit more. If you have a look there, the fireworks are quite strong anyway, but if you actually use the contrast adjustment, you darken the blue around it, but you brighten the highlights in the fireworks, so it immediately creates a more impressive contrast. And we can see the highlights of the building aren't too blown out. Now, since we're more or less finished, it's important to look to see whether or not any noise has been generated from the whole process. And you can see that there is noise in here. If you use NICS filters, especially Pro Contrast and the things like Detail Enhancer, Extractor, then you may get extra noise. So you have to be careful with that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to merge the layers we've been working on. So there's going to be one final layer. Okay, and now we're going to go to Select and choose Color Range, and we're going to choose Blue. Now what we're telling the Select to do is to only include things that are blue in the selection, because that's what we want to, that's where we want to create the noise removal. If you look, there's no noise removal in the buildings, and even if there were, when you do noise removal, it pulls out some beautiful, it kind of destroys the beautiful detail that we've worked hard to get. So I like to be very selective with it. Now you can see along this side it's not selected very well. So if I just press the plus and eyedropper sign, click on that, it's a bit much actually. So if we just press the minus, this takes away things from our selection. So I'm removing everything there. Okay, and it's still a bit dark over here, but it should be okay. Now if we press OK, you can see that selection comes up. And now if we go to Filter, Topaz Labs, and Topaz Denoise. I always use Topaz Denoise as my noise removal software because it's absolutely fantastic. It does a wonderful job, not just of removing noise, as you can see, but it does retain detail, and it's great at stopping debanding, which is stopping banding, which is always a big issue. So I've already got this set. I don't know why. It's already perfectly set, and it's removed a lot of the noise. You can see it's at strength 19. In fact, if we just click on strong, you can see there's still noise there. So we're just going to move this along to 19, just for the tutorial's sake, so you know what to do. And then we press OK. Now the noise removal plugin is a little bit slow, even though this is a new computer and it's quite quick. When we're working with these huge files and we're working with a workflow where we retain these files, the actual workflow is huge in terms of gigabytes. So Photoshop does slow down slightly. If we just kept merging layers and we just had one layer to work with, it would be quicker, but it's very destructive. Okay, just a few % left, and then we'll see whether or not the selection has made a big difference. And voila. Okay, so if we zoom in, come on. There we go. It's a troublemaker. Press Control and H, and if we just zoom in, let's say, now we can still see noise in that area, so I'm going to do it selectively again. But that's where there was noise, and that's with the noise removal taken off. That's the noise removal applied. So you can see a much bigger difference. Now if we look in the buildings, it hasn't affected the buildings at all, so we haven't lost any information. But I'm not really happy about this particular area. So although I'm not going to do it now because you get the drift, to get rid of this area, the noise in this area, I would duplicate this layer, run noise removal across the entire image, just create a layer mask, and then just mask it in slowly here. Now just to finish, it's very convenient that we're on this side, I'm going to remove this part. I'm going to use the spot removal brush. I'm just going to remove that. Oh, that didn't work very well at all. So if we just go back, let's try this again. There we go, that's better. A little bit there. I'm just being picky. Okay, and that's it. That's the first workflow. You saw how quickly it was to blend exposures with this technique. It's incredibly fast. I hope you have success with it. We've looked at how to create reflections, realistic reflections, even though it does look quite odd, I'll admit, but it's very, very striking when you first see it. You looked at how to blend extra sources of light, like the fireworks using lighting. This can be exaggerated to light trails, as we'll see later, and to other blending processes, which we'll also see later in the tutorials. I hope you found this useful, and I hope you look forward to the next tutorial. Thank you very much.
Was that Mark Danson?
No, it's Jimmy McIntyre.
It was McIntyre, was it?
Yeah.
Is everybody crystal clear on what to do now?
Well, I was just going to say, I hope that wasn't too complicated. Let me just stop sharing a sec. Oh, that wasn't too complicated, but at least once I get it up on the YouTube site, you can go back and refer to it.
Yeah, I know.
But
definitely
just gives us a flavour of what you can do with with your photos and make them pretty much completely different to what you took. In a nutshell.
So is that a photograph?
Well, it is. Yes, this is where you get the argument of what's a photo, what's art, and what where are you? It's down to personal choice, really.
The blending technique that he doesn't understand is blend if, isn't it? In Photoshop.
Yeah.
And you've got the same thing in Affinity. It's called blend ranges, and it's really about deciding where in the tonal range of the picture, whether it's in the highlights, the midtones, or the shadows, you allow the blending formula to apply between layers.
Right. Okie doke.
So he wanted, I think he wanted things just to happen in the highlights, the blending to happen in the highlights, not in the shadows, recall.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed from the version of the camera Rory was using, that's quite an old video, and it was using an older version of Photoshop, so it's something that you wouldn't need the very latest versions to do it with. Although I noticed he used like Nick software, which I haven't got. I've got Topaz denoise, but Nick's...
Topaz is fairly recent. Nick, you might still be able to get. Well, you can get an old version for free, but it's moderately expensive now. Otherwise, but
yeah.
So it's £90 if you want the sort of latest version, but as Terry says, you probably can get the Nick Collection 2, which is quite old.
Yeah.
I just put
nothing.
Put a link in chat.
I got mine for nothing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I put a link in chat, but it's old, so you might have compatibility problems, and it definitely doesn't work very well on high res screens because everything's absolutely minute.
It's pretty much like most of us then, where it's old, it's not compatible with a lot of things. Is that what you're saying?
I think maybe you ought to speak for yourself.
Okay. But
can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening, Jackie.
Yeah. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. I'll put the milk and the biscuits and everything in the fridge for next time. Okay.
Where at?
Thank you.
Where at your fridge? Okay. We're not sure. I did send an email, Jackie, on Friday. It's closed, we think, for probably the next 2 weeks.
Right. Okay.
Because they've got no water.
Well, as I said to you before, would you send me a text and not an email? My time is limited. I'm not like you boys. I don't sit all day on the computer, so I do look at my phone now, right?
Yeah. No, I forget that some of you women can't multitask like us men.
Just as well, mate. You're not in the hall.
Because actually, on your phone, you can set your phone up. Mobile phone, Jackie. I don't know if have you got one of these? You can set your emails up to get them on there.
Can you lip read?
Yeah, I lip read, yes. Would you please not swear over the Zoom? I forgot to send you a reminder this morning, actually, by text, just to
It's a
sort of
lovely
say,
drive. Bob and I liked meeting in the dark and driving back.
yeah. Well, if you'd have held on for a bit longer, you could have had a chat with Dennis Peters, couldn't you?
Oh, really?
Because he just rang me while the video was on.
Oh no.
But anyway, that gives us a flavour of what you could or couldn't do. I know it was a little bit complicated, maybe, but it's there for you to go back to. I mean, I did something similar a few years ago. Let me just share my screen again. With the QE2 when it went from when it left Southampton for the last time.
It's quite a few years ago then.
Well, it was strange enough. I was looking at this and doing this last week, and it was 13 years ago to the day last week that it went.
Was it?
Yeah. Over to Dubai, isn't it now?
I see it go. I was on nights.
Yeah. Well, obviously I went down there to watch it go out, and there was quite a crowd down there.
I saw it in Dubai, I think.
Hey?
I saw it in Dubai.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do a few years ago, oh God, wait a minute. Computer's running the show at the minute.
Good, somebody got some sense.
So much for multitasking.
When I went down there, this yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sylvie. When I went down to see the QE2 off, this was obviously one of the problems. Went down to Hythe Marina, and if you don't get down there early enough, there's all these people that are in your way. And I wanted to take some photos of it, but that actually wasn't the QE2. That was the first voyage, the maiden voyage of the Queen Victoria. So one of the problems.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but one of the problems you have.
Who took that then?
Yeah, I did.
Probably an echo photograph.
I think she's winding you up now.
Yeah, I know what she's trying to do. I think you probably did see it in the echo, Jackie, but I was didn't want to tell you. But anyway, what I did a little similar to what he did. I had a picture of the QE2. I think I took the night before it sailed when nobody was about and it was docked up. And of course, then it was nice and still. One of the issues with the other photos with those fireworks in, the ship's moving. I got the photo I took on, I think it was on for 5 seconds at a time to get the fireworks in, which was the easiest way to do it. Of course, if the ship's moving, the ship's blurry. So what I did was similar to what he's shown us in the video, but a little bit more straightforward. Was I just copied the fireworks out of the Queen Victoria, and then made those into layers, separate layers, and then just added those to the photo. So
nice.
Wow.
Just drop them in. That's just a normal layer, just taken from that picture of the Queen Victoria.
Not bad for a novice, is he?
And then what I did was with that layer is what he did, which was flip it vertically, and that then becomes the reflection at the bottom there.
Yeah.
And then I did the same with some other fireworks I had there, and flip them, and then some in the corner. And so that was just one photo and sort of 3 more layers. Were you going to say something, Terry?
Oh, yeah, just a bit much all at once.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The display people must have gone a bit crazy.
Yeah.
You couldn't light the fuses quick enough.
No. But
it's a pity the bridge of the QE2's burnt out, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit. This is one of the issues you got on it. It would look. It was even worse, and I darkened it down a little bit with another layer. But yeah, but that just gives you some idea.
I was going to say for Karen, it doesn't matter whether it's a photo or not. It depends whether you like looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're looking at photos, Karen, that are in, say, in the nature or the wildlife in these big competitions where you've got restrictions on what you can do. Most of your other photos that you see, in our competitions, you could have done anything to them. You know, it's just personal choice, and whether it's like Terry said, that's obviously a bit over the top with the fireworks.
Thank you very much.
But it's personal choice, isn't it? If you like it yourself, then that's fine. You put it in a comp, and then Gary tears it to pieces. But the thing is, it gives him something to do.
That was my job.
Yeah, exactly. If that had been Gary that told me to crop the boat out. I've got just one other thing. Well, I've got a few other things to go through, but I've got another one, a photo that I took and entered. And somebody did ask me if I could explain how I did it, which I will do, which was my photo I put in.
Oh, wow.
Where it's not that one. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. I've got it. So, oh, wait a minute. Right, this was one that I did for my seascape, which Gary insisted was completely wrong, but he knew where I took it. So that was my final entry that I put in, and that got a top mark with the New Forest Camera Club, and this is how I put that together.
So I will just point out that the sun there is setting due south.
That's only if you knew
most
where.
of us wouldn't know that.
Yeah, it's only if you know where it was taken.
Well, yeah.
It's quite haunting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. It got a 10 in the New Forest Camera Club, which I was pretty happy with.
Was Ferg sick on that day then?
No, he had something, I believe, although I might have been in a different division to him.
What, a lower one, you mean?
Yeah, I was. I'm in the same one as him now.
Oh.
That got the principal group, primary group. It was photo of the year. It got, so I was happy with that. And
yeah,
what I was very happy with.
Have you finished doing your own?
No, not yet. No, not yet. I was just going to say what I really liked was the fact that it upset Gary. But anyway,
just shut up and read your emails, Jack.
I'm trying to. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Terry.
Anyway, Peter, did you get a trophy?
No.
Oh, I know how that feels.
Yes. Well, I've got one for you. Don't worry. You'll get 6 months of it now that we're back. I can hand it to you. So anyway, I took that photo about 11:45 in the morning. So there's the original photo.
No.
So that was the original one. And then what I did,
Got your horizon straight.
Eh?
Oh, sorry. You could have got your horizon.
Well, I've straightened it now, you see. There it is, nice and straight, which is exactly what I did. I cropped it and straightened, cropped the portrait and straightened the horizon. So well done. You knew
Where
what
was this, Peter?
Sorry?
Where was this, please?
Kimridge.
Ridge.
And apparently, so Gary tells me that's looking due south, which it is. Anyway, so I adjusted the tone of it to remove some of the blue. Then I imported a suitable sky, and just put that in as an adjustment layer. That was a sky from a cruise around the Caribbean, I think. So
name dropper.
Yeah, I know. Well, it certainly wasn't one from over here. It's too nice a sky. and I got loads of skies in a folder. See, going back to changing things in photos, it's obviously ever so easy to change a sky now in Photoshop. But obviously what you've got to remember is if you're entering it into a competition, you've got to have taken the photo. You can't go downloading it from the internet. So I copied the sky layer, flipped that and adjusted it and placed it over the water to give us the reflection. And then I imported it into Lightroom and I got some presets on there and just gave it a bit of a golden hour preset and adjusted it to my liking, really, just to get the nighttime sunset feel to it. So that's what I started with. And that's what you ended up with.
Amazing.
Wow, good.
Very impressive, I must say.
So it does show that what you can do to it.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I'm not that proficient with the Photoshop. I'll just have a little go, really. Just trial and error, what we picked up from Malcolm, etc. over the years. So then anyway, that was give you an idea, gives you a few thoughts of what you can do with your photos. If you'd like us blokes just sat there playing with our computers all day, eh, Jackie?
Yeah, we haven't got time to do that.
Righto.
Thank you. Be careful, these two of us now.
Oh, I know. There's too many women in the club. We'll have to have a women's section, I think. You could meet on a Wednesday night or something. Anyway, so
yeah, but Peter, that means you'd have to make your own tea and coffee.
My lovely wife's just made me one.
I mean, on Tuesdays.
Yeah, well, we haven't had one for a while anyway, so.
You'd like to make it first, Pete, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You nearly got one tonight, didn't you?
Well, we nearly did, didn't we? We made plans. We did make plans. So anyway, I think the hall will still be closed next week. So next week is the Mount Leach Trophy. So I've had some people have sent me some entries already, but if I could have them by the close of Saturday. So as long as I've got them for Sunday morning, because I've got to get them to Maria for her to have a look at them before she judges them on Tuesday night. But we'll do next Tuesday by Zoom because she wanted to do it by Zoom anyway. So that's fine. And I don't think we'll be able to get back in the hall. They've said a minimum of 2 weeks is what they're thinking because they've had to order the bits for the pump. So it's, if you remember, it's the theme of, was it shapes? I've forgotten myself now. Shapes, patterns, or textures.
Textures.
Yeah, yeah. So it's your interpretation of that. So up to, yeah.
Please remember for future reference, the 3 provisos, obviously it doesn't apply this year, were A, it would be a print.
Yeah.
B, it would be a judge.
Yeah.
And C, the subject would be for the previous winner.
Yes.
Obviously we can't do it as a print this year, but
yeah, the other 2 we fulfilled. We got a judge and what was the third one?
Print.
Print, judge, and yeah, the winner chooses the theme.
Yeah.
And Keith's chosen the theme because he won it last year. If you can also start thinking about December, a couple of things in December, we were going to have the meal. So we're still looking into that. I've got the menu for that. I'm going to speak to Jackie and I'll get in touch with you about the Christmas meal.
Have you got a date for it?
Have you got a date for it yet?
Well, no, we haven't chosen a date because as of last week, we couldn't actually find the menu because they hadn't provided them, Jackie, had they?
No.
But I've looked online and I've got a copy of it. So the choice is 3 weeks time or 4 weeks. So that's, I think it's about the 7th of December, or we could do it the 14th of December. I don't know what would be
I
best. We
think
normally
14th would be better.
yeah, give us a bit more time, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If they're
And it's
not
nearer your
full.
birthday.
Eh?
And it's nearer your birthday, so we can
No,
take
the
a cake.
7th is nearer, but it's we can celebrate. You can bring a cake along, no matter which week we have it. Yeah, we'll have to check, Colin, won't we?
Yeah.
I'll find out. I don't know how busy they get over there on a Tuesday night in the restaurant.
Very.
Do they?
Towards Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, we'll chase him up and I'll let everybody know. So I don't know how many are interested in going. We'll have to get numbers. So I'll get that out in the next few days. And obviously, partners are more than welcome. Anybody you want. And we've had it over the road the last 3 years, and it's been okay, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The food's been good. They've looked after us well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter,
Yes,
could
Roy.
you find out if there's any gluten-free options?
There is.
There is, are there?
Yeah, but I will confirm. Yeah, and so also what we've got in December, which we'll do on the week that we don't have the meal, will be the Len Ferguson Trophy. So if you want to start thinking about getting photos ready for that, the subject matter or the theme is people, persons. It must have at least one human being in it. But really, the main subject should be a person or persons. Yeah. So you can use your own interpretation of that. But we'll have that either on the 7th or the 14th, depending on the meal. I think that's all I've got at the moment. I don't know if there's anybody else. A couple of things really. If anybody's got any subjects or any nights out ideas that they want us to think about. We've got I think one spare date between now and the end of the year. But we obviously need to start looking at what we're going to do next year.
What about the Christmas lights downtown again?
It could do, couldn't we? Are they on? They're going to have some this year.
They're
Christmas
on now.
market.
Yeah.
No.
There's a Christmas market they're building.
Oh, is there? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So do we want to do that one Tuesday then? I mean, I suppose when you think about it, it
I've been
does.
working on some double exposures and silhouettes and things like that. Maybe we could do something with that.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
fun,
What, tie it in with a night out or just do it in general?
Yeah, we could try it with a night out, couldn't we? Get something that's kind of backlit subject, see what we can get, and then match it up perhaps with some double exposures or play about with that, do some editing.
Yeah. Okay.
I just whacked in the chat as well, if anyone useful for anyone. A nice conversation about photo editing versus photo manipulation. Brenda Petrella.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's quite well worded what she says, and pretty good, interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Yeah, so I don't know if it's any of the newer members have got any thoughts on anything they'd like us to cover. Whether you want us to have a night, well, when we get back in the hall, we were going to have a night on bringing your cameras along, and we were all going to have a go at how they work, weren't they? Because Jackie's got her Sony, which does anything and everything, but we need to work out how to do it, don't we, Jackie?
Sony.
You've got a Sony, haven't you? Oh, no,
Canon.
It's a Canon. Who had the Sony? Someone had a Sony.
Not me.
No, Canon, wasn't it? Dave McGill's got the Sony, haven't you?
Yeah, I'd love some help with it, please. Yeah.
Yeah, you want some help with it, don't you? that could be a problem. But does anybody got any experience with the Sony? What have you got, Roy?
Fuji.
You got Fuji?
No, in all honesty, I have lots of experience with Sony since I've had them for about 20 years.
You have?
Yeah.
Someone else uses Sony. Someone.
John
I
White.
look at the EXIF.
John White.
John White.
Might be John White.
Oh, it is John, isn't it? Yes, he's got one.
I think Kerry's got a small Sony compact now.
Yeah, I've got the 100, RX 100.
I might be chatting sometime, Pete, about you know, using camera phones and things like that. We've done a bit in the past, haven't we? But we all
About
know
using what? Sorry, say that again, Ray.
well, sometimes using your own, you know, your camera phone, iPhone, whatever you've got.
Yeah.
Because getting the most from that, because a lot of them have got quite high spec now. And of course, the best camera is the one you got on you, right? So
yeah,
perhaps we can do a bit of that at some point.
Yeah, because
one.
I've downloaded that Snap Speed and used that to edit some of those photos that some of the ladies took on the night out at Leap, and it's a good bit of kit. It's very easy to edit and process the photo.
Yeah, do double exposures, a lot on that. It's very good.
Yeah, just the way they're all going. Well, these cameras now, these phones now are sold on what they can do as a camera, aren't they? More than being able to make a phone call.
Right.
I don't suppose they can go any further with the actual phone call, but the camera itself, it's getting fairly high spec, and the new iPhone does all sorts, doesn't it? Yeah. So any other suggestions for evenings? Hang on, I'll write it down one at a time. Just a sec. Don't shout them all out at the same time. Drop me an email if there's anything you think of, if you don't want to mention it or you can't remember it at the time.
Does anyone ever make any like calendars or Christmas cards with their photos? Be interesting to chat about that, and maybe printing them. I'd like to know a little bit more about printing if anyone's had a bash.
Yeah, we have done in the past. We've done some calendars we made ourselves, and also they're fairly easy to, if you've got like 12 photos, ever so easy to produce on with somebody like Photobox or somebody like that.
Okay, yeah, send them off.
2009 we did one.
We did, wasn't it? I was looking the other day when I was sorting out some of my photos.
Yeah. I've done some calendars for my children. They're not very interested in photography, so I've had to take some rather second-rate pictures and tidy them up. And I use Photobox, but before that, I didn't put in single photographs. I put in composites. So I try and find 2 or 3 amusing things and put a title under them and play with the borders and things like that. And that's actually terribly easy to do, and you can do it very quickly in Infinity. I'm sure you can do it in Photoshop very quickly.
What we did, Pete, previously, we just had the one image and Matt put out the year's calendar as a black outline, and we just put that over the top of images.
Yes. Yeah, we did a couple of things like that, didn't we?
Yeah. Another thing we did was you sent an image out and we all had a go editing it, didn't we?
Yes.
And we compared who did what with it.
Yeah.
That was quite good.
Well, it was, because it was very interesting how different people did different things to it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can have a go at that. I can find a photo that I want somebody to do something good with, because if you could come up with some good editing, I could then put it into a comp, couldn't I? Wouldn't
None
have
of us
to
have
do
that
it.
experience, Pete.
Hey?
None of us have that experience.
Oh, I don't know.
Photographs into something good.
I think you're fine. Don't worry about it.
The leaves are stunning at the moment, aren't they? The trees and the leaves. If you get a chance to get out now, it's prime time.
We're going out tomorrow to try and get some, so before they all blow away.
Yeah.
But
It's a bit dark at the moment, Ray.
yeah, we need to go during the day. Problem was, it's not been very sunny the last few days, so you definitely need the sun out to get a bit of light on those leaves to get the true colours.
Yeah, that app, I found that app really good that Gary told me about, that Clear Outside app.
Oh, right.
It tells you how cloudy things are. Quite easy to read it.
Is it? Because I've looked at it with Gary and we couldn't work it out.
Well, basically, green is go, really. If you see green, that's going to tell you you've got a clear sky, good visibility.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or look out the window.
Sorry, what app is this?
Look out the window.
Called clear. It's called Clear Outside.
It's just a.
I haven't heard of that one, but there's a website called windy.com, which shows you cloud coverage on a map.
Yes, I've used Clear Outside and Windy because they're said to be able to predict good sunsets, but actually I found that they're rather unreliable for that.
I don't know if you can see that. That's the screen. Can you see it? It's probably not. Can't get the light on it.
But Clear Outside might tell you if there's going to be fog tomorrow and things like that.
Yeah,
very good for that.
Yeah, maybe we could have an evening on that. Everybody could do an app and show us how it all works. Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks complicated, but it's actually all right. So yeah. It says 100
Yeah,
on
it's a
white.
bit of a pain putting new locations in there.
Yeah, you can tell it where you are, not Exeter.
What was the weather forecast?
Tells you the Bortle class as well.
Oh, that's good.
Peter.
Yeah.
Portal class.
Peter.
Wow. Now you ask about the Bortle class. Well, I found out about the Bortle a few weeks back. I believe it's a kind of a scale of clear sky between 1 and 9. So if you're stood in like the Nevada and beautiful skies, you probably get near a 9 or so.
But it's Bortle. I thought it was bottle.
Bottle scale.
You're planning ahead.
Yeah.
It's just a sky quality, really, if you're into
Okay.
astronomy and so on.
Peter.
Yes.
The real competition is how to put that app on my mobile phone.
That's a challenge.
We'll cut and paste.
Gonna probably need a phone that was produced in this century, Colin.
Or you just got to stick your head out the window for now.
Well, there's always that as an option, isn't there? Instead of trying to calculate what's going to happen, is to actually look out there.
Just
and
get
think,
out.
Doesn't look too bad.
Colin, you can use it on your desktop, actually, if you want, on your desktop, your PC.
Yeah,
What's
it's
that?
probably easier to read.
Can you?
Now we're getting a bit complicated for him, Keith, I think. Right, okay. Anybody else got anything?
That guy was talking about Topaz denoise. Does anybody use that?
Well, I have.
I'm using it.
I've got it, but I think I got a free copy, or I don't think I paid for it. I don't know if you can still pick it up.
Share it out, Peter.
Free. Hey, I can do. Yeah, I think I've got it on. It'll go on a stick, I think, and I could send it out.
Oh, really?
I think so.
No, it needs to be licensed and stuff.
Oh,
I'm
does
sure
it?
does.
You sure?
I'm sure it's tied into the machine that you install it on and then have to license it and things.
Oh, I'll have a look. I'll have a look, Trudy, and see if
I just linked if you want astro thing, there's a darksitefinder.com, which is basically a map of light pollution for astrophotography. I put that in.
Right, okay.
Shows you where all the light skies are, or the dark skies are.
I'll copy
the only
those.
place around here is on the coast.
I'll copy those. I'll copy those links that you've put up there, the 2 or 3 of you, and email them out to everybody if they can't copy them in. I could put them on an email, and some of you could ignore it. No names mentioned. Right. Okay.
Must be terrific to be so perfect.
Yeah, I know. It is hard work, but
Hard work,
the rewards are great. I'll have a chat with me later, Jackie, and I'll explain how to do it.
Oh, everybody knows.
Okay. Right. All good?
All good.
Yep, thank you.
So next week will be Zoom. We won't, even if the hall's back open, we won't go there because the judge isn't going there because she's already said she wants to do it via Zoom.
Yeah.
And we can't rely on the hall because I don't know when they're going to let us know when it's done. They definitely said it would be 2 weeks, probably. So I mean, I guess they don't know because they're waiting on the stuff to arrive and then somebody to fix it. So it's easier if we make the decision now, then everybody knows what's happening. And then
And you need the entries by Saturday, you said?
Yeah, by the end of Saturday. As long as I've got them by midnight Saturday, I won't look at it until Sunday. And then I'll get them all sorted and sent off to the judge, and I'll get them put up on Flickr.
Normal size?
Yeah.
Can you just confirm that, Pete, what size you want them sent
Well,
in? Because
the best size, only because it's what it's good that we all keep in the same habits, because when we get back doing them with the projector, they need to be no more than 1600 by 1200 is the ideal size.
And you can't switch it around. The
No.
1600 is always the width and the 1200 always high.
Yeah, so it can't be higher than 1200 or wider than 1600. So if you've got one that's like 1080 high but 1800 wide, it's you've got to change the width to 1600. Yeah, and then obviously
got that right yesterday, then Jackie, didn't we?
Yeah.
About time we got something right.
So you want us to do that for this competition?
Well, it makes it easier, Keith.
Right.
In all fairness, I've let it go. I've very rarely have changed the sizes on them, unless I get the odd one come through that's about 15 megabytes in size. So I reduce that in size because of uploading it to Flickr. I mean, it will accept it, but it's easier if there's not quite so much.
But it's better for the judge as well.
Yeah.
If they're all the same.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're comparing the same density of image.
Yeah, it's a competition of thumbnails, really.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, you don't. It's a good excuse. You don't need to buy a 50 megapixel camera if you're going to show 2 megapixel images from it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're messed up, Dave.
I can crop a lot.
Yeah,
I've no idea what I've sent you.
Yeah, it's basically the size is there because of when it goes through the SCPF. That's the sizes they stipulate, and also normally when it's on a projector, it prefers.
Well, it's for projection, isn't it? But isn't SCPF going to get a bit more modernised soon, or something? I thought people were moaning about needing 4K screens and things.
Well, they keep talking about it, but we had a meeting last week, and they've not really progressed anywhere on anything. There's, listening to members. I think there was about 40 odd members clubs there last Wednesday night, and they managed to waffle on for about an hour about nothing, but one or two of them are not meeting at all. They're not back in halls, and then they're not looking to move back into the hall in the near future. So they were talking about projectors and what they were going to do, but it's for the foreseeable future, it's going to stay as it is. It'll all be PDIs. I think they're going to try and do some prints, but they've not made a decision yet. There's certainly no print league until the end of next year at the earliest. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, they were talking about tellies, but then they were back on to projectors last week. So we'll wait and see what they decide. I think with COVID, it's made everybody think more about Zoom, and things seem to be moving more that way. So
hey,
yeah,
just perhaps people not seeing this, just to check on this sizing thing. So say, for example, got your picture and you're exporting it, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about this, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if we put that down 1600 by 1200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unlock the little thing, otherwise it changes it, right?
Yeah.
That means then you've got a nice file size.
Yes.
Easier for emailing, right?
Yes, basically.
No, you shouldn't do that, because that will distort the picture if it wasn't that aspect ratio.
Yeah,
you
want to just do one size there, and it'll automatically.
You leave the padlock, and it will resize to something.
Yeah, that's what I was just checking.
Yeah, just
you need to limit whichever is the biggest one.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically,
I mean, that's nearly square, isn't it? That picture.
Well, that's it. So what we do is stick with 1600.
No,
right?
no, because you can't have 1600.
Well, that would be 12.
No, it has to be 1200.
So you'd have to put in the height. It's Yeah.
Yeah, 1200 by 1200.
Yeah, as it's a square photo, yeah. But if it was a portrait or landscape, then just put in the longest side, and leave the other side to be calculated by the computer.
Yeah, can't you just put one size in, Ray?
How do you mean, guys?
Well, if it's if the padlock's there, it does it. Yeah.
Yeah,
if the
yeah.
padlock's closed, then it will resize the other side.
You don't have to.
It just does it itself, doesn't it?
Right.
Just enter. Don't touch anything else. Just enter,
and then it'll put it
will work.
posted. All right.
Take the height out, Ray, and do it with just the width. Just delete that. Is that?
How do you mean, Peter?
Well, just take it out.
Oh, just 1200 there is right, isn't it? Because that's the height.
Yeah.
And presumably, no, with the padlock closed.
With the padlock closed.
But surely it's
And then
far
you have
easier
to put
just to go
1200.
to image size, change it to pixels and put in whatever you need.
Yeah, you only need to put one figure in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah, but which one you put in depends on which one is the limit, doesn't it? On the aspect ratio of what you're starting with. So.
Yes.
So you need to put 1200 in the height, but this doesn't matter because it's square. So.
Leave that
Square
blank.
anyway.
Leave that blank and see what it does.
Ultimately, it depends, doesn't it, on what you do with your size and all the rest of it anyway, right?
Yeah, well, if it's a portrait, it's going to be 1200. If it's going to be a landscape, you put in your 1600.
Yeah.
Provided then that your
this is square
height
anyway.
is no greater than 1200.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've really
pick
explained
squared.
all that for our new ladies.
Sorry, Roy?
Say it again.
I say, I'm sure you've explained all that for our new ladies who are watching.
Well, it is on the website.
Well, yeah, but it does sound a certain amount of confusion, doesn't there? I mean, I know what it is, but it's I'm sure we're confusing them.
I think you're right. For anybody who is just trying to understand how to do it, I mean, I know how to do it because I've been doing it for a while, but for anybody who is just trying to be told how to do it there, they must be totally confused.
Yeah.
Or of you all
Unshare the screen, Ray.
Right, Peter.
Unshare the screen.
Peter.
Yeah.
If you bring an image up,
I'm just about to
and do it in Photoshop, it's so easy.
And how about just letting Peter tell us then?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Why don't you just let me show you how to do it? Right.
But how many new members have got Photoshop? So
that's yes.
Well, what I used to do was change it in image size. Yeah. So you've got your width and your height. So I would just put in 1600, and it's set. I don't know if you can see that. It's set so that it automatically adjusts the height. So I'll just show you that again. So you go image size. At the moment, it's 3,888 pixels. Yeah, let me put that in the middle. And its height 2,592. Because I've got it set to do it, to keep it relative. If I put 1600 in there, it automatically changes the height to 1067. That's fine because that's less than the 1200. Yeah.
Just mention the resolution as well, Peter.
Sorry. Yeah, but the resolution
300
should be 300, but it doesn't make a lot of difference being 72.
It's exactly the same that Peter's just shown in Affinity.
Yeah. Or you can do it the other way. If you wanted it to be 1200 high, change the height to 1200, right? And you'll see that it then says the width is 1800. So that's not acceptable. Yeah. In other words, it's saying you can't have that height because it's then going to make the width too high. So then you would
How
have
can
to
it make the width too high?
Too wide.
The width too wide.
You know what it means.
You're not complying with the rules.
Yes, basically. So you then would have to go in and put the width in first, and then you put 1600, and you can see it's going to say the height's 1067, and then that's fine.
I couldn't help but notice they just wouldn't let you say what you wanted to say, Pete, would you?
No, but does that make sense? But also now, obviously in the latest version of Photoshop, you can't save a photo in JPEG. It won't, you go to save, it will only give you PSD, PSB, PDF or TIFF.
You can go to export and do it.
I was just about to say
Or
that.
you can
Colin.
do,
So-
you can
Sorry,
do,
Peter.
Yes, okay, mate.
you can do save as, can't you? It's not.
Well, you,
That doesn't work either. You
doesn't
need
work either
You need
anymore.
to save as a copy,
Yeah.
and it works.
The easiest way to do it, I've found now, is like Colin was just saying, was to export, which was what Ray was doing, and export as, and then you can set it as JPEG on there up the top. Set it as JPEG there, and then put your sizes in. There you go. See, it's still got 3,888. So I want to export that. You just change that to 1,600, and this time it didn't do the. Didn't do that. It didn't do the. Oh, sorry. I'll tell you why. Export as. Change ping to JPEG and then put the image size in there. And I don't know why it's not changing the height.
Not linked, is it?
It's not linked, but it was where it was doing that. It's because I've updated it. Why that's not linked then?
Can you set aspect ratio somewhere? You know, keep aspect ratio.
Yeah. Oh no, it's done it now. Look, I haven't put that in. It's done it. It's running slower. That's what it is.
It's
automatically
done it, hasn't it? That's cool. But if you,
yes, it's done it. It's done it
anyone on the
automatically.
call hasn't got, you know, Photoshop or Affinity, anything like that, you can still just right click a photo and it'll tell you dimensions, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
I mean,
if someone sends one in and it's massive,
if you send it in,
no one needs to worry about it.
No, don't worry about it. If you're not sure about it, just send it to me and just say in there that could I adjust it, and I'll adjust it for you.
I've sent mine. Can you adjust mine?
Yeah, it's no problem.
I've no idea.
Well, the other, you can use Faststone, wasn't it, the other day? Give that presentation on Faststone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So does it do
That's
it
free.
in Faststone?
Faststone does it and it's a free Windows one. If you've got
So
Windows,
I've got that, but it's too late because I've already sent them.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's called the crop board under edit
Oh, yes.
somewhere. I think.
Yeah.
If you send them in and they're the wrong size, don't worry. I will check them and I'll just edit them.
Keep that door shut.
It's not the end of the world.
Okay, thank you.
Don't panic.
We didn't know there was a size, you see.
No, well, what we will do another week, we haven't done it for a while, is I'll probably run us through the club website because it is all on there.
Yeah.
And so you can have a little look on there. I mean, you've all got access to that, haven't you? You've got so you can look at it, and all the rules for the comps, etc., are on there. And there is
it'll make more sense now.
And there is a presentation that shows you how to adjust them.
Yeah, Faststone's really good for that. Like Terry says, crop board, easy peasy.
Yeah, I can crop.
If you've got any problems with cropping your photos, I'll let you have Gary's phone number and his email.
Karen and I and maybe a few others, we're going to have a chat in the new year. We've got a bit busy at the moment, but we might have a little session some point just to run through some bits and that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I said to them last week, we're quite happy, myself and Gary, to give them a hand one evening. We could always do it a different evening, a Wednesday evening or a Monday evening.
It's all the little things, isn't it, Peter? Now, when I was new to the club, you know, how to put a border on and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things that some of the longer term members are just, it's second nature, just second nature to get on with it. Do what, Jackie?
Forgotten.
Well, yeah. Well, I think we all do that. You often sit here thinking, what is it? I mean, I've got, you know, the sizes they've got to be. I've got up on my desktop because I can't remember. You don't want to have to remember, do you?
No.
If you know where to go quickly to find it,
Go
makes
to
life a bit easier.
select,
Huh?
select all, go
Yeah.
over to edit, stroke, put your pixels in, click OK, deselect.
Who's woken him up? What you on about a border?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just
But that's only if you want. That's only if you want to be a camera club competition
Yes.
entry.
Yes, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
in the real world, nobody else uses borders.
No, quite. But I think what we'll do that in the new year. If some of the newer ladies want us to have an evening off of other than Tuesdays, we can go through a few basics. Because obviously what I'm conscious of is some of the people that have been in the club a long time won't want to listen to it all. I mean, when we were in the hall a couple of years ago, we actually did 2 sessions, Colin, didn't we? We had the basics in the little room, and we did something else in the main hall.
Yeah, we did. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps we could do that one evening. Advanced.
We all crammed into the basic.
You did all as a revision, didn't we?
Well, yeah. Well, it doesn't hurt to go through some things now and again. You do forget them.
I agree.
Yeah.
Hey, you still sharing your screen?
Oh, yeah, I am, and yeah.
I've got that. I've got what's it called? Fast Stone, just quick. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Fast Stone, like Terry says, go into edit. Got your picture there, crop board, and down here you've got your fixed sizes. Happens to be 1600 by 1200, quite handy, and that'll give you an idea of what's going to come out.
Not a lot.
Oh, sorry, it's not cropping. It's image resize, isn't it?
Yeah, it's image resize. That's cropping, isn't it?
That's the
Yeah, well, you could do both, but you can. Sorry, yeah, I said crop board, but there's
You can
resize, resample.
Yeah,
that's mostly what you want for doing that. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, that's it. So you could.
Yeah, so there's that's the standard size on your yeah. There you go.
Boom, and then you can just save it, and you're done.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Simple as that, isn't it?
Boom.
Well, it is, except my screen doesn't look like that.
What's your screen look like, Karen? Karen, have you got any software yet? Have you got things like Affinity or Photoshop or anything like that yet?
No, just Fast Stone.
Oh, it does a lot, Fast Stone.
I think Colin mentioned it to me. We think it's Fast One. I know I was calling it Fast Stone, but we think it's Fast One.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a discount recently on Adobe Photoshop? There's like not a lot, is it?
They've got a
instead of 10.
It's Black Friday deal on at the moment, I think.
Yeah, it's for the whole package though.
Is it?
If you want this Illustrator, all of the package, which is quite expensive.
Affinity might be worth checking Affinity in the next week, because when Keith very kindly showed us how to use it, it was half price. So I paid $24.99 for that, and it's well worth that because there's no other recurring costs.
I think it's this week. It's this week definitely. It's looking like half price.
It's Black Friday deals, isn't there?
Yeah,
It's worth looking at.
Peter.
Yeah, worth looking at on Black Friday.
Peter, you could run a Black Friday deal. You got CS5 on a disc.
Yeah, I have. But that'll copy onto anything, won't it?
Yeah.
You copied it down, didn't you?
I did indeed, yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to copy it down, it's got obviously it won't update, and it's an older version.
I just use it as a backup for when the PC runs down.
Yeah. Yeah, more than welcome. You gave it back, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I've got it somewhere then.
Yeah, you've got it back.
Yeah. No, I know you do. I know where it is. It's up there. It's up there.
Up there somewhere.
It's up there. I've also got a version of Photoshop Elements if anybody wants to load that on, which is very similar to Photoshop. It's not got the whole package, but it's a lot easier to use.
Got enough on there.
Well,
yeah,
CS5 is very good. The only thing is you can't download your stuff from Camera Raw?
No, no. And it's a fully working. I mean, I paid for it. It's not something I copied off or anything.
Affinity Photo on the iPad is absolutely fantastic as well. And you know, when it's half price for £10, it's an absolute bargain.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I've downloaded this week, which is new on my Photoshop package, is Rush, which is video editing for desktop and iPad and your phone. And it comes with the Photoshop subscription. For some reason, although no, in their defense, they sent me an email saying that it was part of the package if you wanted it. And I've tried it, and it's, you remember you did that demo of the video editing, Ray?
Yeah.
Very similar to that, but it's in the Photoshop.
Really?
Yeah, you want me to just show you? Let's see if I can find it.
Looking out.
£10 per month with the what's it, or is it just £10 a one-off payment, Pete?
It's Photoshop is I'm paying, I think it's $9.98 a month.
Yeah, it is.
Right. Is that, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, £9.98.
The other day it was something
It
like.
goes on top of that, does it?
No, that's it. It covers that as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, particularly on Amazon, you can get a year's worth at a discount. So that might be one thing to look at for Black Friday. Sometimes Amazon does a year of Photoshop or whatever for a fixed price, less than £10 a month.
Right.
Peter?
Yeah.
I'm going to say goodnight to you now, but
okay, Colin.
Sad news, Melk's sister, which of course is my sister, died this morning. So.
Oh dear. Well,
yeah,
sorry to hear that.
Not long after Melk.
Yeah, no.
So I'll see you all later.
Okay, Colin.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye, Colin.
Bye. Bye, Colin.
Good night.
Yeah, this is that the Adobe Rush, so it comes with the package, and you can. I mean, I was just playing around with it. That allows you to do all sorts down the bottom here, edit it, put them together, put titles in, add music. You can do commentary over the top of it, and you can just
like a sort of smaller version of Premiere, which is huge to learn. And
yes, I think this is it is. They said it is sort of primarily built for using on your phone for social media. I think put them up quickly, but I loaded in not last week's, but a couple of weeks ago when I recorded the meeting. I loaded that in, and it will edit our meetings. So like tonight I videoed that, so I could now go through and cut bits out, add bits in, put some titles in. So it's a good bit of kit.
If you pay on the monthly, you've automatically got it, have you?
It comes with Photoshop, yeah.
Part of the package now.
Part of the package, the Photoshop package, which comes with
Bridge,
Lightroom, Fresco, which I've got, which is very similar to Snapspeed for your mobile devices. Camera Raw. Yeah.
I've known some people to get discounts on photo on Adobe if they teachers or students. If you know any teachers or students, sometimes you can, work something out.
Yeah, it's saying here that up to November the 26th is Black Friday, 40% off, but it doesn't say what. Oh, well, that's for the next version up, I think, because it says upgrade now, so that'll be some of the other products, because
that's the Works, that's Illustrator.
Yeah, Illustrator and all sorts.
And the full version of Premiere.
Yeah, they're quite dear, aren't they? Well,
if you want video stuff and you're not into the Adobe subscriptions, there's DaVinci Resolve, which is from the people who make the Blackmagic cameras, and a sort of base version of that is free as well. That's a very competent package.
Oh, right. See, Terry's the font of all this information. I don't know where he finds all this stuff. Where do you find it all, Terry? Just browsing on the net. Yeah.
On this webby thing.
On this webby thing. What is this called? What is it? Internety or something?
It's the interwebs, yeah.
Interwebs. I've heard of it.
with 32 bits of a bus, yeah.
Oh, you got to get on a bus to use it.
Wheels and windows and everything. Steering wheel.
Right. Hmm. Okay. Okay, everybody, you all okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Thanks,
We'll
Peter.
say good
Thank you very
night, and
much.
we'll see you all again next.
So I just linked the Da
Tuesday.
Vinci thing. As
Yeah,
well.
okay, mate.
in
I'm
chat.
going to try and copy all those and send
Who's
them
had their
on.
booster jabs? Everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet. I've got
Yeah.
mine booked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine-
Good night, people.
Yeah.
Right,
Bye.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Can't get mine till December.
It's all right for you youngsters.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good night.
Right.